since I went to, well, we're live, but this will just be our pre-chat. Welcome everyone. Hey, so I went to Florida, came back. It's not like I was gone that long. I have struggled having conversations with like potential clients. So we're gonna see how Melanie does today. Like I've not been able to tell you what I do, anything like that. So
You know what you do. Stop
I know
second
what I
guessing
do. And
yourself.
I literally today I had to say, okay, so it is live on, just checking everything. Live on my YouTube channel. Not that I have anybody that looks at that, but okay. So let's see. Let's make sure that I'm live. Hey, if you see this, drop us a comment, and then we will get started. So
Hey, Adrian.
this time, I want you to. Okay, that's my phone. Okay, perfect. So I'm just looking for the event so that I can look at it on my phone, and then we'll get started. So welcome everyone. Yeah, we're live. Super excited to be back. We were off last week, so this week's flown by for me. I can't believe it's already Thursday. And of course, if this is the first time you're joining us, this is LinkedIn 101, Becoming a LinkedIn Rockstar. Very excited to have you here. Oh, there's one. I gotta let him back in. There we go. I was like, what am I doing? So, before we get started, I want to have everybody introduce themselves. And Shell, I'll start with you. Then we'll pass the mic to Roy, and then I'll introduce myself, and we'll get started on today's topic.
Yeah, thanks, Mel. Hey, everyone. I'm Shell, your LinkedIn cheerleader, and I officially help people with their LinkedIn engagement strategy. See, I can't talk either. It's like the end of the day for me. So I help people with their LinkedIn engagement. And what this means is that I help people show up better on the platform, to engage better, to have more conversations that matter to them. And why do we want to do that? Well, hopefully that you want to engage better on LinkedIn because you're either looking for a job and you want to find new opportunities, you want to put yourself in front of the right people and start becoming top of mind for those conversations. You're looking for more clients, which means you're also looking to put yourself in front of more opportunities and having more of those conversations that matter to you. You're either looking to build your community and getting in front of the right audience to have more of the conversations that matter to you, or any combination of so many other things and anywhere in between. So, no matter what lens you're diving in from, there's always room to improve the way that you engage. And I get really excited to do that. And as your LinkedIn cheerleader, I help you get really excited to do that too, so that LinkedIn doesn't feel like work. That's why we're all here, to become a LinkedIn rock star. So, passing the mic over to Roy. Welcome, Roy.
Thanks so much. Friday morning, 10 a.m. Here I am, video, got my favorite shirt on, smiling with my two faves. How good is that? Doesn't get any better, does it? My name is Roy
I
Kowalski.
agree.
My name is Roy Kowalski. I'm based in Sydney, Australia. As I say, it's Friday morning. I call myself a promotional product disruptor. And I really, really love the word disruptor because that's what I do. Through the experience of working with Fortune 500 companies, I assist small and medium-sized companies with their branding and marketing. And the question that I hear so often is, we have the most incredible products, we have the most amazing services, but our biggest challenge and obstacle is we cannot get conversations going with our dream clients. So I use promotional products. I use a product called a video brochure to enable conversations to get started. And I use LinkedIn as a means to share my story. I use LinkedIn as a means to showcase what I do. And on these conversations that we have in this Rockstar session, uh, I use the knowledge and experience of my business to show why people should be dealing with me. It's not complicated. So when you can show credibility as well as competency on your LinkedIn journey, that's when people will say, I should be talking to somebody like that. And that's what I do, is I use LinkedIn as a means to showcase what I do, so that when people are ready to engage with somebody like me, I want to be front of mind. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you. And I'll be very honest for those that maybe are tuning in for the first time. I truly, honestly, I could just jump on this call or whatever, this LinkedIn live, just to join these two people. So, for those that don't know who I am, my name is Melanie Mitchell Wexler. Excuse me. I am a career coach and a LinkedIn strategist. So, as a LinkedIn strategist, my goal is to teach you how to use LinkedIn. It's more than just a job board, going beyond it being a job board. That's usually a lot of times people's first impressions of it. And so I look to be able to help you understand how to show up and be found and to be seen and to be heard on LinkedIn in a way that suits you. And I think that's something that Shell and I do very good together. You're going to see there tomorrow. We are giving another free LinkedIn workshop from our LinkedIn Rockstar Academy, which we do have a cohort. I'm just going to start this now, starting on February the 14th. It's a 6-week cohort. This is going to give you a chance to see a little bit about how we coach. And one of the things that I do think that we particularly coach on, and particularly in this room as well with Roy, is we do talk about things about customize this to you. There is not a one size fits all approach to LinkedIn. You don't have to feel the pressure of like, you're never going to hear us say you should be posting 7 times a week, or do what works for you. And so that's one of the things that, I think is very unique in terms of our approach. And so today I wanted to really have a conversation about the power of connection, but building meaningful relationships. We could talk about the, quote unquote, the numbers, our follower count, our connection count. You see people, that talk about that all the time. But what are we doing with them? Are we just collecting numbers, or are we building relationships? Because I would truthfully give my 23,000 followers for 1,000 strong connections that commented on my posts every single day. I mean, with 1,000. I'd probably do it for 100, to be honest. So let's talk about that. I'm going to start with you, Shell. Thoughts on, obviously, LinkedIn is really based on the compound effect. So I'll start with that. So when Roy and I connect, Roy becomes a second degree connection to all of my connections, as I do his, as I do yours. Now my expansion just reached. Now when you connect with another person, I'm expanding even more. So how do we take that, though, and start to build, and I'll pose the same question for both of you from your perspectives. How do we take that and build to building a relationship? And you can jump in anywhere you want in that process.
Yeah, I'm like, which thing do I touch on? So before I answer that, look, you can be a connection collector here on LinkedIn. You can grow your network just for the sake of growing your network. In fact, affectionately, those people are called LinkedIn open networkers, like people who are open to connecting with almost everyone and anyone in order to build up that network. And if you're looking to grow your network, that's a great place to start from. But whether you're an open networker or not, I always tell people to be really intentional with who they're connecting with and knowing why they are reaching out to connect with somebody. So like building using, as Mel said, like using those first and second level connections, second degree connections, to now find the right people to engage with, to build relationships with, is going to make all the difference between somebody who just connects and collects connections versus somebody who is really mindful about who they're talking to, why they're having the conversation, why they're getting to know somebody on a deeper level and not. So I love what you said before, and I will expand more on answering your question instead of dancing around it, I promise. I love what you said before about you would easily trade in your 23,000 followers for an engaged audience of 100 or 1,000 followers. That says a lot, because if you just went through your existing network and identified, you don't have to wait for that to happen. Just act as if that is already happening. Go in and identify those 100 or those 1,000 people in your network who you want to talk to more. And you can use your filters to do it. You can filter down by your industry. You can filter down by your geographic location. You can filter down by company. You could filter down by a specific keyword or interest. Whatever it is, go and identify who those people are that you want to have more conversations with. And if you haven't talked to them in a while, this is your opportunity to go back in and start another conversation and say, hey, it's been a while. I was thinking about you. Wonder what you've been up to. Would you like to catch up sometime? Or, hey, I noticed you've been doing this thing that seems to be a little bit different than what you were doing the last time we talked. Re-engage them. Or if it's somebody that you have been chatting with and you just haven't, you haven't been really intentional. And I know when you could do a better job with the conversations instead of just keeping it surface level. So, like, what conversations can you get deeper with? And why, just even if you don't mention it to them, you need to know why you want to get deeper with it. So don't wait for your 23,000 or however many connections and followers you have to cull themselves. Go in and choose those people. Be really intentional about, I want to talk to this person more. And I know why I'm doing it. And now just go have that conversation. So that's my long-winded way of answering your question, Mel. Roy, I'd love to hear your take on it.
So my take on it is that you have to start with a plan. It's no good just being on LinkedIn and getting connections, and every now and again posting, and every now and again liking somebody's post and saying, oh, great post, well done. You got to have a plan, and here's some of the things that need to be formed part of your plan. Number one, your profile's got to be properly optimized, and I'll tell you why. When somebody looks at your profile and they don't understand straight away what you want to be known for and what you do, they're gone. And guess what? They don't come back in 2 weeks' time to say, I wonder if Roy Kowalski has fixed his profile. Let me go and check. They are gone. Gone, gone. Secondly, create a content strategy. Doesn't have to be every single day. There's no one plan fits everyone, but have a strategy, whether it's once or twice a week, whatever it is, and make sure that you're consistent with it. And make sure that when your content is created, it speaks to who you want to be known for. It's no good you're an HR person and you go and talk about healthcare in your content. No revelation, no connection. It's got to do this. And thirdly, engaging in other people's content. Now, here's an aspect that I wanted to just share. I'm going to try and be as long-winded as Shell this time. I'm only kidding. So here's the thing. Identify that these are the kind of people that I want to be connected with. Go and have a look at their content. Go and have a look at their profile. Engage on their content. Show them that you're interested in them. And that way is the starting point. Then send them a connection request with a note. Hey, Shell, I noticed that in your last post, you mentioned ABC. I think this is absolutely brilliant. Have you ever thought about DEF? I'd love to have a chat with you. See you later. But send it. When they respond, that's the start of the conversation. Now, here's the point. Some of those people are never going to respond to you. Move them to the side. Don't waste your time and energy on those straight away. Put them in the bank for future use. But the ones that are responding, they are the ones to start conversations with. And that, to me, is the essence of networking. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
So I just want to jump in really quickly. There is just so much. So the great thing about a LinkedIn Live is that you can watch on a replay, and so you can capture all these little juicy nuggets and all this great information. So, so that is that's a definite positive in the yes column of why doing something like this. So, what Roy just said though about taking those people that connect. this is something I've become much more intentional with in the last, I mean, I'd say several months, but being very specific. I sometimes can't capture it in the moment. Obviously, you're in the middle of work. So I keep my notifications like, hey, LinkedIn sends me, and I know LinkedIn notifications don't work the same for everybody, but it sends me like, hey, here's your 12 new connections for the week, or, your 5 new connections. I actually go through that. I message them after because, again, everybody's so busy. So don't be offended if somebody doesn't necessarily, like if you pose the question, like Roy said, and they don't flip back and go, yeah, I think this about D, E, and F. Don't be offended by that. I consider it's the person knocking at the door. They've accepted your connection request. So now it's your turn to like let them into your house. Okay. So say, hey, thanks for accepting my connection request. Sometimes I will ask about, whether it's a career related question or a LinkedIn question, or I will say, hey, thanks so much for connecting with me. I want to invite you to my LinkedIn 101, Becoming a LinkedIn Rockstar LinkedIn live that I do weekly every Thursday. Now, you may be saying, but hey, Melanie, I don't do this. I don't do the LinkedIn lives. I don't do the social audio on Clubhouse. That's okay, because there's somebody watching in the audience. He doesn't do them either. And his name's Merrill. But you know what he does do? He connects with people. And he says, hey, I think you would like this. And I know for a fact, I see Melissa Cohen there. I see Americo DaCosta. I know for a fact, I'd like to think he just loves me and, shares all of my rooms and everything. But I know he shares everybody's rooms. Don't know how he keeps up with it because I can barely know that it's Thursday. But I know that's what he does. See, he doesn't host them, but he says, hey, I saw you in this career coaching room that you were listening in. I got this other show that I listen in on too. You might like it. Or you might like to find out more about Americo DaCosta. How about you check him out? So he uses that connection and that ability to build that. And every single time, I swear by this, and I'm not just saying it to, be nice to Merrill, but more often than not, those people will comment in a chat. They will always say, Merrill, thank you so much for that. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for realizing there's that connection. So you can do something like that. You can share an article if it's in your industry, like, Roy is into, marketing and branding. And you'll see sometimes he'll post interesting, ads or things that companies are doing. So, if that's something that you see on Roy's, content, go, hey, Roy, I just came across this really cool advertisement. What do you think about that? And, I know Roy, he actually may turn that into a post and tag you. So I think that's one of the things that, you have to be very mindful of. How can you move the conversation to the next level? So I love, I love that point in particular, because they're knocking at your door when they connect with you. Let them in. Let them in and start having conversations. Don't make them just a number, but have the conversation. Continue that conversation happening. So thank you so much for that. I do see that we have a question from Michelle Norton. She is referencing SSI. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Can I just maybe amplify one aspect of what you spoke about?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
And that is that when I said that those that don't respond, move them aside, I never said discard them. I said move them to one side to be used at another time. So when somebody doesn't respond to you in any way, that does not mean they're not interested. You might have just caught them on a bad day. You might have just caught them on a busy day. So those people that you connected with and haven't responded, bring the conversation back in a week's time or a few days' time or 2 weeks, whatever it might be. And then say to them, I know you might be busy, but are you open to a conversation? Again, question mark. Keep asking questions, because questions have got two responses. They're not going to respond or they're going to answer you. When you make a statement, You're saying no more conversation. Thank you so much. Question means that can you respond yes or no? And as I say, if they don't respond the first time and they don't respond the second time, do it a few times. When you've reached 4 or 5 times and you've had no response, turf the connection out the back door because they're not going to respond. My name is Roy and I'm out.
Absolutely. And again, everybody is super busy. It's easy to get lost in the DMs on LinkedIn. LinkedIn does not do a great job about how to, like, I mean, if I don't respond to my DMs in the morning, they get pushed down by the afternoon. And Lord knows. Heck, I talk to Shell pretty much every single day, and there's sometimes I can't find our messages. So I'm like, where's Shell's message? So
Yeah,
you know,
it gets
LinkedIn
buried.
doesn't, it gets buried. And if it's not like your email where it says, hey, you've got, so many unread messages. So you can kind of, and then you have to find them. So definitely do that. So a couple of things. We brought Christy Williams. She joined us here in the studio. I know that sounds so fancy. Christy, I'm going to come to you next with your question, but I wanted to get to Michelle Norton's question. She had a question about our SSI score. If you don't know what the SSI score is, it's Social Selling Index. And she shared her SSI is 64. She shared it's a breakdown ultimately of based out of 100, and then it breaks it down into engaging with insights, building relationships. She had a question about how do you advise how to raise your SSI score. I will say this, John Asparian and Meryl might be able to find the post. It's probably, I think, 2 or 3 days old, but just did a post that there was something funky happening with SSI scores. Like they
It's
crashed.
all corrected. It's all corrected.
Yeah, so it may be
Corrected.
I haven't checked mine again. I know mine definitely crashed. But here's, well, before I give my thought, Shell, what's your thought on the SSI?
I think it's nice to look at it to know that you're on the right track, to use it as like a gauge or a guide. But I don't let this define my LinkedIn activity. And what I mean by that is, and I can tell you that having looked at it a few days ago when everything dropped and to what it is back at today, and it's still a little lower than it had been, like it like went in half almost. And it's still only like 78 or so. Um, and like, if I just take the number for what it is, like I'm used to being an A plus student or like anything in the A range, maybe a B plus at best. 78 immediately takes me back to my childhood and makes me cringe, right? I'm like, I could be doing better. And then I start to ruminate about all the ways that I want to be doing better and like fixating on the number. And here's why I can't spend my time and energy doing that is because I know I have better things to do. Like, so I use it as a guide to like see, okay, compared to, and I hate comparisonitis too, so don't get lost in that trap either, but compared to others in my industry who are creating content and those who are not, I can see that, okay, I'm on the right track to being more engaging, to building better relationships, to finding the right people, to having the right conversations. I use it as a very loose guide. I don't want you to get caught up in the actual number because what you need to be doing is focusing on where you should be building the relationships and having the conversations, not on how can I raise the number. Just go have the conversations. So that's my, again, long winded maybe, but with love, nice way to say, please forget about the number. Don't like over dwell on it too much.
Yeah, I would add to the SSI, quote unquote, the SSI score. If you have Sales Navigator, which I do not, they give you an extra like bump. You get a little bit of a higher bump in a score for those that don't. So it's automatically not really a fair playing field. Okay. So first know that. The other thing is establish your professional brand based on what? Finding the right people. How does LinkedIn know if I'm finding the right people? Is it the people that respond on my post? Well, those could be people that I've connected with 3 years ago or something. Like the criteria of how you get to ultimately the goal, which I don't know anybody that's at this. I've never even heard of that, where the goal is to would be at the perfect score is 25 in each category. So, but there is no criteria in based on my knowledge. I know Melissa Cohen's watching, so she may have. It was like she's a great professional, focuses on professional branding. So, but building relationships. So, is that engagement? Well, am I engaging with insights? How am I building those relationships? So, that's where I do agree with Shell. Like, it's a good something to have. I look at it. I may look at it monthly. This was actually the first time this week that I had looked at it, and only because I saw John Asperion's post, and I was just like curious to see what mine was, and so and I'll look for the link that I can put that in there. But if you want to see what yours is, but again, it's a good kind of it's a test, but it doesn't. There's a lot of variables in it, so you can't really say, oh, this is an equal playing field and we're all starting from the same point. How do I get to 25? You're never going to, if you bump up, but you may bump down on a given month if something happens. But here's the thing. What is your LinkedIn goal? What is your LinkedIn goal? Are you achieving your LinkedIn goal? So you could have a low SSI score, but achieving your LinkedIn goal, I'm going to tell you, you've been highly successful because you're achieving your goal that you set out to do. That's what I want you to focus on. So again, it's like a quiz. I love taking those stupid quizzes. I always did as a kid, like what's your spirit animal? And so I'll take a quiz any day. Just not a serious school quiz. I don't like school quiz. I just like the fun quizzes. So yeah, so we have Christy up here on stage with us. Christy, do you have a question? Oh yeah, go right ahead.
I wonder if I could maybe just make a comment about this SSR scores. And yes, there's no reason that you have to focus on this. It's purely just a guideline. But in Michelle's case, I'm looking at her numbers over here. So establishing a brand, you've got 21 points. Not really a major focus that you need to concentrate on. But where you can work is in engaging with insights. You're on 13.9 out of 25. There's a place they're telling you want to increase 13.9, move it further up the track. This is what you have to do. Engage with insights. And then on the bottom, building relationships. You're 15.5 out of 25. You want to change that? Then concentrate on that. But I think just to amplify what both of you have said, don't make this your be all and end all. LinkedIn is about conversion of what you want to achieve. That's it.
Perfect. Yeah, I just checked mine. I've got a 25 in build relationships, but I don't know what that's based on. I just don't know what that's based on, But then I will tell you this, finding the right people. So this is the weird thing. Finding the right people, I've got a 12.776. But I build the right relationships. But I'm perfect there. So again, it's very, it's a fun number. It can be a fun number to look at, but I don't take it, super serious. So focus on your goals, what you want to achieve, and that's where I think is the best. Let's go to Christy. Christy, do you have a question for us or a comment? Maybe not. Okay, so Christy may not be available. That's okay. So I'm going to, Christy, if you want to comment when you're available, just let me know. And I'm going to remove you real quick, and then we can always add you back. So yeah, so let's talk about, oh, thank you, Melissa. I build great relationships, but just with the wrong people. So yeah. So
see, take it with a grain of salt.
Story of my life. That might sum up my dating life, but that's another show. That's another topic. So so that probably sums up my dating life. but apparently also on LinkedIn. I carry it across the board. So, so America's 25 and building relationships and divorce as well. I'm telling you, folks, maybe it's related to our relationships that we have. Maybe LinkedIn is tapping into something we had no clue. Okay, that's all I gotta say. So
Sounds like
yeah,
we need to overcome some limiting beliefs here.
Yeah. It's spreading into my LinkedIn world. It's in my dating life. But again, another story, another show, folks.
How do we find the right people?
How do we find the right people? That is today's topic. On
Got your topic
levels.
for next week, haven't you?
Right. Yeah. Finding the right person. That is the right. But you know what? I'm gonna flip the question back to you, Shell. How do we find the right people? How do we find the right people to have our networking relationships with? I'm going to preface that, okay?
Well, sometimes, like with personal relationships, you just kind of fall into them. The three of us kind of did. It just kind of happened. We just kind of clicked.
Yep.
Now there was some intentionality behind it, right? Like I happened to be on Clubhouse the very first day that I joined and popped into a room with Bill and with Rachel, and they both introduced me to you, and then the rest is history, right? Like so I just happened to choose to be in a room that day that like that opportunity presented itself, and then it was the right opportunity. I think it's really like how do you find your people is really like how do we put ourselves in more spaces where our people and the conversations that we want to have are already happening, where they're already showing up. Even if we don't know the people in those spaces yet, we know that I went into a link. I don't know if it was a LinkedIn 101 room on Clubhouse that day or a LinkedIn mastery room. It was a LinkedIn related room. I wanted to have more conversations around people up leveling on LinkedIn and how to do things better. So I put myself in that space. And it really can be that simple of like, where are the conversations happening that you also want to be part of? Yes, I'm using myself as an example to say that I wanted to have more LinkedIn related up leveling and more engaging conversations, networking conversations, but that you can apply that to what your goals are for the platform. You're a job seeker and you want to find more people that are that can present more opportunities for you, find more people in your industry to connect with. Find more people that are recruiters, talent acquisition, hiring managers, people who regularly surround themselves with opportunities to present to people. Find more conversations to have with people who are in similar roles or adjacent. If you're looking for more clients and you, let's say, talk about life coaching, or you talk about mindset or burnout, or you talk about promotional products and marketing, where are these conversations already happening? You're not the only one that wants to talk about these things. There's a billion or however many people there are on the platform. There's conversations that are already happening, and you just got to go dig around and look for them. So
how do you find your people, Roy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, Shel.
Yeah. I mean, I was wrapping up to pass it to Roy anyway. But yeah, that's how I find my people. That's how you can do it too. Roy, curious how you find your people.
Well, I think the starting point is know who you want to be speaking with. For me, that is absolute gold, is to identify in your own mind, these are the kind of people that I want to be having conversations with. I want to be connected to. I want to be networked with. So I'm a pretty serial networker. I belong to BNI, which is a networking organization. I'm very intentional on LinkedIn. Here's how I do it: is I identify who do I want to be talking with, and I make a list of those people. And I don't make a list so long that I never get to any of it. I make a list and then I prioritize 10 people out of the 30 or 40 or whatever it might be and those 10 people, I go to their profiles first. I follow their content second. I comment in a meaningful way third. so that they can start to notice me in their comments on their posts. And when you've done it a number of times, there is no way that a person will not notice that this guy, Roy Kowalski, has been commenting on my posts regularly. And then when they respond, and there's nobody that's never going to respond to you, because if they're never going to respond to you, you don't want to have a conversation with them anyway. But 99.9 times out of 100, what will happen is they'll say, thanks for the comment. There's your cue. Send them a DM and say, wow, I thought this particular post. Now you've started the conversation. So that's how I do it. I look for the people that I want to have conversations with. I engage with them on a meaningful way, and I wait for the opportunity to send them a DM with a message and reference the context as to why I want to have a conversation with them. That's my story.
And I mean, I do the exact same thing. I mean, this is where I will say this. This is what took me probably the longest to figure out. I know that can seem kind of silly, but it really did. Like, this was not, you hear the content, you hear people talking about content, creating content, posting. You hear about engagement more. But I think in the context of who are you, you can engage. Obviously, you could go to your feed right now and comment on the first 10 posts, whatever those may be. Hopefully you're engaging with you're seeing posts that are related to the topics that you want to talk about, to the people that are in your circle, things of that nature. But there may be a chance that that's not the right thing. It takes time to curate that. So part of finding those people in your industry, I started with, whatever. For the longest time, I think I've shared this story probably 1,000 times, but I came from recruiting. Recruiting is very dog eat dog kind of world. I was fortunate to have a lot of good recruiters in my back, but there's also recruiters that would they'd run their own mother over, okay, for a deal. So, and so I wasn't used to this collaboration idea. So the thought of commenting on another career coach's post was very foreign. Like, that thought was foreign to me. It wasn't me stealing the spotlight. What it was one, I can add value to the post for them, but other people are going to see that are also potentially the people that I want to have see me. And when I realized that, that's when things started to shift for me. That's when things started to, I started having more conversations about the topics that I'm helping my clients with. And it wasn't just like, oh, this is a really great post. There's nothing for me as a creator of content to do with that. So what I need a comment or something that I can take that to the next level and keep, I don't necessarily want to I don't prod a lot of people. Like, if they, I kind of go where the conversation's happening so that we can continue that conversation. And in fact, the other day, myself and another career coach commented on a post. It was about the top 25 jobs or the top jobs on Rise in the Washington, D.C. area. And we ironically commented on the same thing, that I don't want to get political, but with the things that are happening, we may need to look at other things in the jobs. Like, we potentially have some career crisis situations happening in this DC market. So that might be an area that we actually should focus on instead of these quote unquote top jobs. And so she sent me a DM. And she's like, I loved your comment. We were already connected. I didn't see her, I saw her comment. I was busy, but we had a whole conversation in the DM. So we took it from commenting on a LinkedIn news article to commenting, and communicating behind the scenes. And that's where that's where the action starts to happen. That's where we can jump on a call and go, hey, how can we collaborate? How can we do business? But we're working in conjunction with each other, not against each other. And I think that is the thing, when you start to realize that becomes really the most important thing for you, with, and changing the dynamics of how you find your people and then what you're saying. So I kind of just rambled on there. But next question. I'm trying to, do we have any other, I don't think we have any other questions. I didn't miss any. So perfect. And what next thoughts? I don't have another question to ask you off the top of my head, Shell. I'm drawing a blank. So I'm extending the baton and saying, "Help me out." I'm like, I literally have no other questions for you.
That's okay. Uh, sometimes the things just come to us when even when we don't have them planned. Um, so one of the things that was coming up for me as you were sharing about how you didn't think of commenting on somebody else's on another career coach's comment, or like building a relationship for there, it's not competition, right? Like, so I love thinking about it as collaboration, not competition, because we and we've talked about this before, we are not for everybody. Everybody is not for us. It's about finding the right opportunities for us as we have more conversations. And so, like, by you commenting on somebody else's post, you are now you get to do it in a way that adds to the conversation, adds value to the conversation, and also shares your insights, expertise, and perspective that other person may not have given. You may have an alternate perspective on something that now somebody else in those comments, or somebody else that's viewing that post, can say, "Hey, like, I hear what this person's saying. I love that they talked about this and started the conversation, but Melanie's got a unique take on it that I didn't consider before." They now get to see who you are and how you show up in that space. And so I love that there's space for you and the other person and anybody else who wants to have that dialogue to add value to the conversation. And that becomes cyclical, right? Like, that opens the gateway. And especially, as Roy's told us before, time and time again, like, don't let the conversation end there. Ask a question, a yes or no question, that they don't have to do too much thinking about, to keep that conversation going and invite and encourage more dialogue to happen. Whether you do it there on the post or in the conversation, or whether you take it to the DMs or take it offline completely. There's so much opportunity to find more people to have conversations with, and find to have more conversations that matter, and to find the right opportunities for you. So I wanted to take that a little bit further, how you said that, you didn't think of it as competition, you thought of it as collaboration. Well, here's why. So, yeah, it
And
wasn't necessarily
it
a
applies
question.
to all of us. We should all be doing this. Like, we should all be doing this. And whether it is attracting the next client, but looking at the people that are doing the jobs that we're doing, and this goes, I'm going to put my job career coach hat on here for a second. I know that job seekers have that same mentality that I had of like, well, why would I comment on a job seeker's post, right? Like, why would I do that? Truthfully, you probably have more empathy in terms of what they're going through, and can probably lend hopefully a supportive ear. But also, you don't know what recruiters, hiring managers, there's a lot of what we call the lurkers. And the lurkers are behind us watching all of this stuff. They're seeing the videos that Roy and Shell are creating. They're watching, reading the newsletters. They're not commenting, and they're the views. But they're the ones that are probably, honestly, also can be potentially the ones that take action. So I encourage you, engagement and commenting is really important. Roy, thoughts on wherever we're taking this now?
Yeah, I think I'm going to repeat the topic of the room, which is building meaningful connections. And so, if you're talking in terms of building meaningful connections, then you got to say, like, these are the kind of people that I want to be speaking with. These are the people that I want to be connected with. I got to tell you, you either have got to be intentional, or you got to be a vanity metrics um, uh, puppet. Let me call it that, because what's the purpose of just accepting every single connection request from every single person if you don't want to start a meaningful relationship with them? So I'm going to tell you that if I look at the amount of people that I knock back, and I don't accept their connection, it's not because I don't like them. I don't even know them. But guess what? I've got a couple of boxes that people need to tick for me to consider whether I accept them as a connection request. Number one, have they ever viewed my profile? If they've never viewed my profile, how interested are they in starting a relationship, up to about a connection relationship with me? Number two, have they ever visited any of my content? If they've never visited my content, how do they know what I do? How do they know what I'm talking about? And if those kind of people send me a connection request, thank you so much. That cross comes in and I click that. Ignore. Number three, if you're going to send me a connection request without a note, I've no idea why you want to connect with me. Unless I've seen the other two aspects, again, it's meaningless. So make it your business, if you want to form meaningful connections, to have a specific plan. And for me, that is the key element about making and building meaningful connections. And so I'm just going to share one other thing, and you'll see where I'm coming from with this. My keyword for 2025 is collaboration. Now I'm going to explain what does that mean. It's no good just having a keyword. There's got to be some action attached to it. So this is how I articulate it and explain it. I have taken 2025 and I'm going to seek out new strategic alliance partners. I'm going to seek out, which means I'm going to do something. I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm going to seek out strategic alliance partners to collaborate with, to our mutual benefit. Now, mutual benefit, let me remind you, mutual benefit is not me saying to Shell, I've got the most incredible product to sell to you. This will make your business fantastic, and therefore it'll become mutually beneficial. Oh no, that's not mutually beneficial. Mutually beneficial is, Mel, you have got something that I can help you with, and you've got something that you can help me with, and both of us will get a benefit out of it. That's mutually beneficial. Now, why have I told you the story? Because I have made it my business in 2025 to actively do this. I've had a call with 3 or 4 people already in the month of January, specifically because I want to build meaningful connection relationships. So there's a story.
Perfect. I love it. So, well, we're at 6:49. So I think what we'll do is, Roy, do you have LinkedIn Mastery tomorrow?
Yes, certainly do. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be about uh, business profiles and how important it is, to create these associations in business. And that topic was chosen by Martin Stark. So um, again, what you will find is that this new format has us smiling. Seb, thanks very much for the jog of smiling. The reality is that when you get engrossed in someone else's conversation and you start concentrating, you can't smile at the same time. That I've worked out. Unless you're a smiling concentrator, I'm not. But here's the thing: is that what this new format has done, as it shows personalities. You can see our reactions. We're laughing, we're giggling, we passing comments that are all in good humor. Sometimes a little dig at someone, but all in good humor. That's what has happened with this. So join us tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. If you've got an hour to have a little bit of a laugh and learn at the same time, come and join us. We call it a way of enjoying yourself and learning at the same time. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
I love it. And so please, if you're not already following Roy, please make sure you are following him. You can also check out the Thought Leadership Branding Club website as well, which is Thought Leadership Branding Club, or branding.club, sorry, as well as the company page. And then, and Meryl, if you are listening and can put the link in for Roy's LinkedIn Mastery on Friday into the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. Because I just can't multitask. And so I'm like, gotta find the link. Where is it at? So I just asked Meryl to do it. So, Shell, of course, you and I are back together tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. please let everybody know what they can expect. We've had the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy, our free workshop. This will be our last free workshop before the cohort officially launches on the 14th. There are still spots open for the cohort, but Shell, let everybody know what they can expect tomorrow. And then also what we're doing with the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy.
Sure. So as you can see, the QR code is on your screen, whether you're watching live or on the replay. And so if you have been thinking about attending to find out more about what it would be like to be inside this 6-week cohort with us, this is your chance to come ask your questions, figure out if the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy is right for you. What we did 2 weeks ago in our previous free workshop was we answered people's questions live and direct right there. The who, what, when, where, why of is LinkedIn Rockstar Academy right for you? And people asked questions from a job seeker perspective, from a client perspective, like that looking for more clients. That is from like a community building aspect, thought leader. Like people were from all over, so it's applicable across the board, no matter how you're intending to use LinkedIn. And yeah, again, this is specifically for anybody who wants to take LinkedIn to the next level, especially if you've been regularly attending our LinkedIn 101s here. We love you. We hope you keep coming back. We're not saying don't come. Now is the time for you to possibly put these things into action and have the support and the accountability through the cohort and through Melanie and myself and anybody else who joins this cohort to bounce ideas off of and actually implement the things that we talk about from week to week. So we take LinkedIn 101, we amplify it, turn it on its head to give you that additional support. And that is what the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy is all about. So especially if you've been here again from week to week, you want it, maybe you've put some of those things into action, maybe you haven't yet gotten around to it, maybe you want feedback on whether or not any of the things that you've been trying to implement are working for you, or if you should pivot and or slightly adjust to something else. These are the questions that we can help you answer tomorrow to determine if the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy is the cohort for you. And yeah, so make sure you scan the QR code. It is on Zoom. There will be a replay available for anybody who has registered, but it will not be hosted on LinkedIn. So you have to make sure to attend with that Zoom registration link that's on the screen, or by going through the LinkedIn event page, which also has the link to the Zoom registration. So yeah, we'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern.
I want to just give a little shout out. I want to give a little shout out to Mel and Shell. I've been a co-host with them for I'm not even sure how long, but long enough. But long enough for me to know that if you want to elevate your LinkedIn game, go and join the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy. And I'm saying this not because I get any commission. In fact, maybe I should get some commission for introducing people. But I'm saying it from the bottom of my heart. Why? Because I've watched and witnessed the assistance that they've given people coming to this Rockstar 101 LinkedIn, and now it's LinkedIn Audio, now it's a LinkedIn Live. But if you want to elevate your game and you want to work with engaging people, look no further than Mel and Shell. That's it.
And I will be editing that and using that as a clip. Okay. And so
that's when I'm claiming the royalties, eh?
So, but yeah, you guys, you know, we don't do a whole lot of self promotion here. I always, try to always give that extension to others. But I do want to say what I said earlier is that our approach is very different than what you may find out there. We're not going to tell you that you have to do it a certain way. We're going to show you ways that you can still be a LinkedIn rock star, and that was in your own fashion that supports you. And that's something that I've recently just kind of come to the realization of. Like, if you look at the three of us all do something. We are on a journey. The three of us have made mistakes. We've learned how to be on this platform. But that is the other thing of, we do it very differently than the other. I know there's nothing wrong with the others that are out there, but we all do it on our own journey in our own way, and and I will say we are successful in how we do it, and we see results by the ways that we do it, and that's why we share this with you every single Thursday. So on that note, I want you to come back next week, of course, every Thursday 6 p.m. If you liked what you heard and you like our little, honestly, I could just join Restream and talk to these two people, and I'd be happy. Like, it'd be my Thursday. I truly look forward to talking with these two people. So, but we want you to join us. And I agree with Roy that this is kind of taking that to the next level. They get to kind of see the behind the scenes of us, having fun and enjoying one another. And we, of course, we appreciate all of our regular viewers and listeners, or however you're experiencing this. And Meryl, thank you so much for your support tonight and always. And yeah, please come back next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I hope to see you guys at the, free workshop tomorrow. If you have questions about the Academy, please let us know. We'll be happy to answer them as well. And on that note, I'm going to go and write a resume. So I will talk to you. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Melissa. Thanks, Americo, and everybody else that was listening tonight.
See you all.
Bye everyone.